Let's bring in our panel there. Start with that discussion. Kimberly Strassel, a member of the editorial board at the Wall Street Journal. Harold Ford Jr., former Tennessee congressman, CEO of Empowerment Inclusion Capital, and former Education Secretary Bill Bennett. Bill, let me start with you. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people over the past couple of days. They're kind of scratching their heads saying this is really political jiu-jitsu on the part of Democrats, flipping it around, even though a lot of them are on camera talking about defunding the police.
Yeah, this is a very hard sell for the Democrats to suggest that they are strongly behind the police, that they're tough on law and order. The only thing that might help is some tapes from Biden in the 80s when he was chairman of the judiciary, when I was the drug czar, and he'd say, you got to be tougher on these people. You got to lock them up for a longer period of time. But I don't think they want to get those out. What we got to realize is that while the most radical elements in the Democratic Party were talking about defunding the police or dismantling the police altogether, most of the Democrats in the Congress were quiet. The president was ambiguous. The vice president less than ambiguous in the wrong direction. Jim Clyburn said, whoa, 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 this is a mistake. But he did not have a lot of echoes there.
Yeah, and just to give you a little montage of some of those sound bites, you don't have to go far, but here they are.
Yes, I support the defund movement because this is about the investment in our communities.
I am for defunding the police.
Not only do we need to defund, but we need to dismantle and start anew.
Many affluent suburbs have essentially already begun pursuing a defunding of the police in that they fund schools, they fund housing.
All right, and one more soundbite here. This is Peter Doocy asking about those comments to Jen Psaki. He was trying to say it's Republicans defunding.
Let's talk about who defunded the police. When we were in Congress last year trying to pass a rescue plan for cities that were cash-strapped and laying off police and firefighters, it was the Republicans who objected to it.
How is it that that is an argument to be made when the president never mentioned needing money for police to stop a crime wave when he was selling the American Rescue Plan?
The American Rescue Plan, the state and local funding, something that was supported by the president, a lot of Democrats who supported and voted for the bill, could help ensure local cops were kept on the beat in communities across the country. As you know, didn't receive a single Republican vote.
Okay. Harold, where are you on this? I mean, straighten this out from a Democratic perspective.
So politics, you're going to have politics. I give the Democrats a little credit for trying to play a brand of politics. It may or may not work by shifting some of the responsibility. But here are the facts. There were some serious people who had some really dumb ideas about defunding the police a year ago. I was not one of them. I made clear that any person speaking that book obviously doesn't care about the people that he or she represents, nor do they live in a community that needs policing. And I might add, all communities do. Good policing roots out violence. Good policing roots out gun violence and the awful things that happen, and they're happening in many cities. I might add the great affirmation, political affirmation we have this evening about Democrats. If you look at the top two Democrats that finished in the mayoral race, both were against defunding the police. One is a former captain of the police department, and that was in a Democratic primary. Democrats are going to have to get away from this issue, though, for all of the obvious reasons. I think Secretary Bennett is right about the political predicate, and your polling confirms it, Brett, that if Democrats are seen as being weak on crime, weak against violence in communities, big cities, small cities, are like we're going to lose. I might add, Republicans need to come around on this ghost gun issue. Biden is right about that. But the optics and the messaging, Democrats are going to have to shift and shift dramatically to get this right.
Obviously, this all sets up, Kimberly, to the 2022 next round of elections, the midterms. We're a long way from that, but still it's a big factor.
Well, yeah, and it's why you see Republicans expressing some optimism about their chance. Because, look, politics is local. We talk about this a lot. You showed that poll. And people are seeing crime in their cities, and that is something that really, really resonates with them. And one of the remarkable things here is why it's taken so long for the White House to come around on this. Because Harold's right. Starting last summer, it was only a few voices. But it's the silence that has really hurt the rest of the Democratic Party. And even in the wake of last year's midterm, there were a number of Democrats who lost their seats who came back to the party and said, we did because of the defund the police argument. We've got to stop it. And yet it's continued on. So we'll see what kind of damage control, where this damage control gets them. But once that meme has sunk into a lot of voters' minds, it can be very difficult to reverse that trajectory.
Yeah, former President Obama was one of them. Last word on kind of how the 2022 races, while again we're far away, Bill, are shaping up, and the confidence that maybe you're hearing on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, well, I think the Republicans are right to be confident, but be very careful. We know how good the Democrats are on these things, and Republicans need to be sharp. On the crime issue, again, they have to really remind people of what people already know. You're not going to persuade people that the Democrats are tough on crime. I used to defend Donald Trump on a lot of things, but if someone said he's abrasive, don't you think? I wouldn't say, well, no, he isn't. Yeah, he was. Just swallow it, live with it, and say we made a mistake there. Now we're back on track.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.